Aloha and welcome to the Cafe Gallery, everyone. It's 2012 and we're here at Gallery Cabaret and hi, every one of you. It's great that you made it. It's early. I know. It's early, but thank you so very much.
Early's wonderful.
Early is awesome because they don't have to worry, because they've got great specials here.
Because we can get poets and have jobs and stuff like that.
And you have to go back and do things, exactly. So, and as I said, Gallery Cabaret's got a great history at this place, and I am so honored to be here. 2020 North Oakley, I know everybody here knows that address, but it's a great artist-friendly space. And they've got great drink specials. If you're hungry because you couldn't make it, you can get like a neighbor, a restaurant or something to bring anything on by because we should support everybody in this neighborhood. And this is crazy for our first night for an open mic. Now we've got a number of great features coming up. Now I have to remember them off the top of my head. Next open mic night here is on February 1st, and we've got Vittorio Carli's going to be featured. Yeah, for Vito, yeah! And technically, and I should actually check to double plus make sure with everybody here at Gallery Cabaret, but there is a chance that we may have an R-rated performance artist. We should see what that's going to be about on the 15th. He's coming in from Kenosha. I've got to figure out details with him and make sure all is cool with that. But then, our next one, which happens to be on the 29th of February, how often do you get a 29th, right? We've got Sid Yiddish for our feature. Yeah, that should be awesome. He needs to have the space to actually pull off his stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. So. I was going to read stuff from magazines in between people's readings, but I wanted to actually read a poem that I just wrote. So I have no idea how this is going to work. This is called Games We Play. This game we play. Don't say you don't know, I know. This game we play, it's written all over your face. No, I don't think anyone else sees it. It's like we're the only ones with the Enigma code. Just you and I. But I don't think you're playing fair. You keep your distance, sound my alarm, give me this feeling like the loss of a missing child. You put me on Amber Alert until you come to me again. You kiss me. We embrace for too long before you leave me again. And then when we're together again, we meet in a crowded room. We remain at opposite corners. Act aloof. Act like we don't know the other one is just waiting there. So we play this game, almost avoiding each other, until we're alone and we spill ourselves onto each other. And again, we embrace for too long before you leave me again. But now all my cards are on the table. I'm showing you my hand. And no one can see what's on the line. But this game we play, this balancing act, this coming, this going. I'm sorry. Am I the only one feeling this as we come together and then dart away? Thank you. Well, I'm going to intersperse stuff throughout the night because I've got stuff from the literary magazines that I've got, things from cc&d magazine and Down in the Dirt magazine, and the next time I'm up here, I think I'm going to read a Bob Rashkow poem because, yeah, give it up for Bob. He can't make it tonight, I know. I think he's doing a test for becoming a potential Jeopardy contestant.
Oh, that's right.
So I think he's doing, so yeah, I'll give him credit for that one. So he's here, so I figured I will read something of his that was published with Scars Publications the next time around. So I think the first person I would like to name up here, because he was applauding very loudly, I think I'm going to ask for Mr. Tom Roby. Tom, get him up here.
I published that man!
Yay! Wow. And somebody else here who's going to be reading tonight has published him, so you'll hear from Dave in just a minute. But it's a good one. So we'll put this in here. Yep.
Thank you, Janet. It's good to be back here, where, as some of you know, I had my first feature back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And
Where's that flyer?
the flyer,
I'll get it.
it's up there on my table. So I thought I'd read a little of my earlier stuff, maybe. And there it is.
Before time.
There it is. I'll turn it into a paper airplane and email it, airmail it to you. Void. I slink out of the Amico building into the landscape's concrete. Lights in red, green, proclaim our season's greetings. Purposeful people stride towards New Monroe Underground parking. Sliding across the icy street past the dim-lit vacant lot, I hear rustles of fallen leaves under rumbles of tires on triple-tiered roads. Splitting railroad tracks echo infinity, terminate in asphalt under stilted streets from where communities of trains once departed to speed by busy horse farms, to family peach picking, reminding me of toy tracks in younger Christmases, of Lionel freight trains chugging through tunnel boxes to deliver stocking stuffers on flat cars. Below, on faded fences, peeling placards by the vanquished railroads threaten parked cars with towing charges. A passing wrecker shadows a street light. I must find my car.
Oh.
This is a more recent poem. Came out of a riff with Janine and Charlie, and it's called Look Out, Jump! Why don't you? What's a balcony for if you can't make a poem into a leap of faith? You'll soar, you'll float, you'll fall slow. Review your bedbug life so slow. Jump. Stop ranting on the ledge, teetering back and forth and back. You're not telling us anything we don't already know. Our cornflakes will still go soggy before we can finish, but we don't care. Jump. It's easier than backing down the broken rungs of that endless ladder into the empty bottle of existence that you know will be all dried out by the time you get to its bottomless bottom. Jump! Don't make us wait down here in the cold while you try to make up your mind about how much life sucks. We need to go to work, feed our families, buy a bag of sliders. We'll have your leap on YouTube replay as long as we like. Best seats in the house. No waiting. No need to go to Disneyland. Jump. No more excuses. We can't wait all day. Stop wasting our time. Stop killing us with your rants. I've got a crick in my neck. Jess? Oh. Thank you, audience. Okay, and one more. This is Last Laugh. Uncle Charlie rode his way up from cabin boy to captain of industry with a blowhard guffaw. Never lost the mile race in his two-man skull. His world record will stay unbroken now that they no longer veer around a half-mile buoy, but compete on a straight course. On Sunday afternoons, I bought extra cactus needles to play his classic platters. Fingal's Cave Overture, The Sea and Sinbad's Ship, The Flying Dutchman. It made me feel I too could set sail, become a man of the world, hold my Burman like Uncle Charlie. Once, while stacking the 78s on the spindle, I asked him, "What do you think life's all about?" He just chortled. But I let the next disc drop. "How about the music? Maybe it's there?" "Oh, that's your Aunt Esther's. I never touched the stuff." It made me sick, but I had to put the records away, be polite at their Sunday dinner. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom Roby. As I said, it's a shame that for the inception of 2012 here at Gallery Cabaret, I didn't have my sidekick Bob Rashkow here, so I thought I would try to read a poem of his that was published in the book Chaos Theory, published in 2005. This one, I don't know if I've ever heard him read this one, but this is for Bob. This poem by Bob Rashkow called The Scene Behind, inspired by a film by Eve Heller. Rose petal teardrops collide with rain-soaked ruminations in a delicate square dance. Dim glare from the nearby trees and slight ripple of ponds help to spotlight it. A horse pauses to drink from a mud puddle. There are hundreds of mud puddles he can choose from. There was much rain, but now not. A stray dog eyes the horse from a distance. Everything now seems to stand perfectly still, then rearrange itself. Forest recedes into background, clouds part, revealing hazy evening sun. Blackbirds fly haphazardly in full circles. They know how to come down, but when they come down, they do not know. Rain-soaked ruminations dance with rose-petal teardrops. The ponds eye the mud puddles. The horse has wandered off. The dog ponders and reflects. The sun evades the closing clouds, damp upon damp, overlapping under lap thing. Like a natural wake or an ominous overture? Shimmery surface, haze, golden, dewy, telltale, wash, dry, pool, ripple, descend, arise, amend, again, again. Not wanting it to ever begin, yet knowing I must turn for home, I stand perfectly still, then rearrange myself.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob Rashkow. Thank you all. Thank you. I was going to randomly pick something from this book, and I had gone and I picked the translations section. And I'm like, I don't know Indonesian or Bengali or like, I'll go to a thing in the back, and I found a piece called 10 Minutes. I watched a cartoon where a boy was caught shoplifting. He stole a game for himself, and he made up to his mom for it by getting a picture of himself in a frame, and his mom was so proud. And all I could think of was that I stole something once, and my parents made me feel like hell for it, and I wasn't getting a game for myself. I was getting them Christmas presents. Everyone made me feel as if I had to spend as much money as everyone else, and everyone else had a job, and I was an adult, and I was a kid, and I was 12, and I had 15 people to buy presents for. But I was getting them presents because they made me feel like I had to be more than an adult to compete for them, to compete for them. And it never won, and I never won. And I'm still not winning. So is this part of why I'm so messed up? So is this part of why I'm an overachiever? So is this why I do so much? Is this why I feel the need to always succeed? I always do, but is it always at my cost? Thanks. All the book I'm done reading from the books, and now I'm going to have to call up. I think we're going to call up another man here, probably one of the first ones that came up here. So please give it up for a publisher man. Please give it up for Dave Gadget.
Yeah. Eat the mic?
Eat the mic, you
Eat
said.
the mic.
Eat the mic.
Oh. Is that what does eat the mic mean?
It won't go into it, so it's broadcast.
Okay. Jeff Helgeson.
Yes.
I published that guy
Jeff
too.
Helgeson, hi.
Hey, Mr. Jeff, welcome to the Gallery Cabaret. Have you been here before?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, do you remember the Gallery Cabaret back in the old days?
Probably.
Okay. And so Gallery Cabaret was never meant to be a bar. Dragged him over here to meet Kenny, and he decided to do a poetry reading here. And it went from Gregorio Gomez, who left to do Weeds, and leaving it to Julia Hattery, who ran it for a couple years. And then it was hosted by Jackie Wolk. It was hosted by Chris Thayer for a while. And then it was hosted by Tom Roby and Tom Foots. And I was like a part-time host here when they wouldn't show up. It was my first hosting experience. And this was my first poetry feature ever. Was here at the Gallery Cabaret. And hopefully there's still going to be time for me to be featured later on this year.
Definitely.
And this all went on during the late 80s when people like me and Tom were like hanging out. And once you're in your like 80s and stuff like that, you can look back on the 1980s and fondly.
And you're still hanging out.
Yeah, I'm still hanging out. I still have nothing to do. When am I going to have something to do so I can't hang out anymore? When am I going to have something to do? Anyways, I did this this poem, and it's the first and last poem I normally do at features. And I know some of you had heard it before, but I'm going to do it again anyway, so I'm going to do Crosses. And it was the last poem I did at the cafe. So it's going to be the first poem I'm going to do at the gallery. The cafe, we ended like a month and a half ago?
18th of December.
18th of December. Okay, it was
A month ago.
Like a month ago,
Exactly 1 month, eh?
Wow! Exactly 1 month ago I was doing this at the gallery, at the cafe, and today I'm doing it at the gallery. It's called Remember the Crosses. In the desert southwest, they use small white crosses on the roadside to mark the spot of a tragic death, a traffic accident, or someone who died of exposure. What's the next line? Driver education teacher scowled and pointed to the side of the road saying, remember the crosses. Here in the Midwest, we are less sentimental. The holes in our guardrails are repaired nearly overnight. There's an old woman at the Cactus Bar and Grill. She inhales deeply on her schnapps. Her life is lonely and sad. She picks up her purse, slinging it over her shoulder like it was a cross of Jesus Christ himself. She walks stiff-legged to the door, and her life is so tragic that little white crosses appear everywhere she goes, following her home and springing up like needles on the floor which she paces at night. Across that sad, dry country, the very earth of the desert moans, granting a resonance on every roadside, with such a single across the rest of the nation which says, remember the crosses, making crosses appear throughout the land, like mushrooms on your lawn, bare one day, there the next. Everywhere there is a hint of tragedy, a little white cross springs from the earth, like Arlington National Cemetery, gone mad. I look, and I find myself surrounded by a sea of many crosses, the names, dates, places, all familiar to me. Echoing in my head, there is one phrase, remember the crosses. Although I close my eyes and ears, I hear, remember the crosses. And before me, a shady and indistinct cross appears with my name and date of birth written on it, waiting for me. I want to run away. I want to make this magical vision that allows me to see all the pain and suffering in the world fade away. You see, I've always wanted to make someplace like this where people could come and hang their crosses by the door, a place where sadness and tragedy cannot penetrate. But this is something that I cannot do, for I was born in the Midwest, and in the Midwest we are less sentimental.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have some fun. If you think you can't decide to have it baked or have it fried, I guess it's because you never tried to eat something with worms inside. You know, you cannot tell by sight because usually it looks alright, but you wouldn't take a second bite if it gave your mouth an awful fright. For if you bite into a worm deep into its ectoderm, you'll find that it's not really firm and that it will begin to squirm and yuck. So make a choice and don't be late about what you want out on your plate. If you take too long to debate, you may find you are eating bait. Mama lost her teeth today. They got out of the jar. And no one in the house can find exactly where they are. She thought the lid was screwed on tight when she put them inside. I hope they did not take a bite of mine or Papa's thigh. My friend Kuypers says I stole the idea from this poem from a Bad Examples song called Mrs. Culpepper's Dog Has Learned to Pay the something or other.
Pay the price.
What?
The price.
I can't remember what he's learning to play. This is called My Dog Has Learned to Play the Saxophone. My dog has learned to play the saxophone. It happened when I was not at home. He plays it morning, noon, and night. It's really a peculiar sight. He likes to make those low notes howl. He likes to make those high notes growl. Now it's okay, I would not mind, but he's out of tune about half the time. But this makes my teeth to clench. The cat's on the piano bench. Love is such a strange thing in this world. To have that connection, to even desire that connection with another, is something unnatural. I want to be a Siamese twin, connected at the hip, or sharing some vital organ with another, perhaps a heart. Now that would be a different experience. I want to be a Siamese twin. I want to give myself a reason to be dependable. Give someone a reason to be civil, be close to me, and wake in the morning at my side. I want to be a Siamese twin. I don't care who stares anymore. A monster, malformed, deformed, and unnaturally happy. Thanks.
Thank you. You know, sometimes if you're around somebody for a little too long, you're like, oh, do I have to be attached so close to the butt? No, I'm just kidding. I am going to, actually, I should ask, is there anybody who has not signed up on the open mic that would like to read anything? Because I got a whole list here, if anybody wants to.
Oh, we signed.
Well, you signed, you're all good.
Why do you have to sign up?
Pardon me?
Why does one have to sign up?
Well, if I'm supposed to introduce somebody, say, and this awesome person, because somebody else says, I'm not reading, I'm like, well, then I know better.
We just get
He's
right up
on
there.
the list, darling, yes. Oh, so would you like to come on up here after I was going to read something from the magazine? Would you like to come up here, Love?
Well, I like to be a random type guy that
He's-
would come
so
up
he'll
there and
be
grab
random.
He'll be just some random, he'll just randomly come up here. I don't even know your name.
No, don't listen.
No, it's
How
like,
does he know?
just say something like Spartacus or something and just leave it, just something, leave it at that. Why not? I don't know. Just say whatever you'd like. I was going to read a few short poems by assorted people from one of the literary magazines that I am the editor of. This is the January issue of cc&d magazine. It has a bunch of really short poems. I'm not asking everybody to scream and applause or anything. I'm just going to read a bunch of poems because if you have poetry that you would like to be published, hey, you might be able to send it my way, be interested. So I'm going to read a bunch of really tiny ones. This is a poem by Mel Waldman called Healer. A healer, he listens to their dark stories that penetrate his brain. The darkness is contagious, an emotional virus that contaminates his spirit. After his last patient leaves, his battered brain overflows with poison. He must exhale his toxins or die. But how? Short pieces. This next one, actually, see, I'm not gonna do this. This is a short one by Dan Fitzgerald called A Small Waterfall. Soft water whispers to gentle rocks, asking for a cushion to its fall. Tempered sunlight catches in the breath of the splash. Thank you, Dan. These short pieces. This is by Michael Aspros, and it is called Oaks in a Wheat Field. Who hears your limbs creak and remembers what tree meant before wooden floors? Waterfalls excite the senses, but your shaking limbs remain unloved. A howling coyote shares your solitude. Those are very short pieces. This is a short one by Jacob Kreutzer. I have to know how to say these names. Kreutzer. This is called The State of Humanity. I once saw goodness in a man's heart, but in the heart of the majority, I've observed only iniquity and immorality. Perhaps I'm a pessimist, but the truth is, I would never wish humanity upon anyone. Exactly. You guys get a kick out of that one. This is called Film the Cheerleaders. I don't know if I can wrap my brain around this. The guy next to me at the bar used his camera phone to film the cheerleaders on the 36-inch bar TV dancing at the basketball game. I'm looking at this guy thinking, if you could buy a camera phone, then you could probably buy internet porn. I mean, what exactly is this guy doing? As I said, I can't seem to wrap my brain around this. And then he put on his leather jacket and left alone. I'm still at this bar, and as I said, I really can't seem to wrap my brain around this. After trying to understand that, maybe I need to start doing shots. Bunch of little and we're at a bar. She's perfect for it. And I might read a piece or two from Down in the Dirt a little bit later, but ladies and gentlemen, hell, how many people have I had up here? I've had 1, 2, 3. Well, I'm going to put, I need another lady up here. Maybe I can call up little Miss Janine Ravensloot. Come on,
I love this place, Janet.
I know it's awesome.
This is such a cool place.
Well,
It is. Hello out there.
Hello up there.
Hello. I'm going to, I'm torn, but I think I'm going to do something that Janet published of mine. It's a sestina. It's spring and not one singing bird. Sestina variation. Spring and not one singing bird. Reader, the future is a naked branch. How can I help you? The receiver of this poem will hear nothing, just a certain calmness, like after a suicide, but before the corpse has been cut down. Before the corpse has been cut down, spring, and not one bird. The air is calm after a suicide. Reader, the future is a naked branch. You will hear nothing. How can I help you? I don't think I can help you. Before the corpse has been cut down, you will hear nothing. Nothing. Not even one singing bird. Reader, the future is a naked branch. Everything will be calm, like after a suicide. Everything will be calm like after a suicide. I doubt that I will ever be able to help you, because the future is a naked branch and the corpse has not been cut down. It is spring, and not one bird. You will hear nothing. You will hear nothing, just a certain calmness like after a suicide. You won't see one bird. I will not be able to help you. The corpse has not been cut down. The future is a naked branch. No future, just a naked branch. The receiver of this poem will hear nothing before the corpse has been cut down. Just a certain calmness like after a suicide. I will never be able to help you. It is spring. There isn't one singing bird. No one can help you. The corpse hasn't been cut down. It is spring, and not one bird. Just silence, like after a suicide. The future is a naked branch. You will hear nothing. I went to Spain a few years back, and what an awesome place. It's really, really lovely. It was around Christmas time, and it was quite lovely. So I am thinking of Spain, and just a little aside, I wrote this to a friend, and it started out as an email, and all of a sudden it sort of worked its way into this. I am thinking of Spain. I am thinking of Spain this morning, the whitewashed walls, the red roofs and small white houses with their walled-in gardens, the tiny grate on the gates you can look through. One always feels like a voyeur while in Spain, like one looking up the skirt of a very young nun. Naughty, very naughty. I am thinking of the gypsies languishing on street corners, red-cobbled streets. I am thinking of the sound of small motorcycles whirring over stone like tiny, dark bugs. I am thinking of the pretty boys with their bright, dark eyes that are like shadows in a pool of still, deep water. Their white, sharp smiles that say hello, the pungent scent of pomade on black curly hair, the memory of black robes sluicing red clay. I am thinking of those bronze statues that look out to the sea, glinting in afternoon sunlight, the distant cold look of the Mediterranean with its pouty, slow waves, shall empty beaches in the winter months. The practical shoes of German matrons as they trudge across the red cobbles in their practical brown everything. I am thinking of the Christmas lights coming on at evening above the cobbles along the narrow streets, impossible with stray cats and dogs. Don't touch them. Someone will say, this is winter and they are sick. The cats and dogs have watery eyes, eyes not unlike the Mediterranean in winter, the eyes of dying fish and shell-empty beaches. I am thinking of the tiny squares clouded with grouchy tourists. They sit on a rim of a fountain. They brood at a table with a small cup of coffee. They wander into a church, admire the statues, and if they are pretty, get pinched by an old guard who smells of lemons and black olives. His smile is so warm, like a bright votive candle sitting beneath the Virgin Mary, that one cannot take offense. Naughty. Very naughty, you say. I am thinking of the hotel rooms where I languish in a white robe. I walk onto the balcony far off. A school of dark green fish swim in a dark green ocean soundlessly. They have limpid, dreaming dark eyes. These fish will one day smell of sliced lemons and dark black olives. They will be served up with their heads still on the plate. They will glint like the Mediterranean winter, but before that, I will see them again as I look down from my seat on the airplane. I will hear the distant echo of goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. I'm going to do one short one. This is called Five Birds, and I wrote this during the whole debate about the debt ceiling fiasco that we went through, and it's just in 5 parts. 5 birds. Saturday, July 23rd, 2011. I open my eyes, stare out the window at a few clouds that hang there like dingy laundry, listen to the repo man who's banging on my door. He wants my car. Okay by me. Life is a sad song stuck on repeat. Like Strayhorn wrote, all I care is to smile in spite of it, too. Monday, July 25th, 2011. I take the train downtown. Who said the legs are the last to go? I'm thinking Bukowski when I hit the sidewalk face down right in front of a guy begging for change. But then, maybe this is just a dream, because Rimbaud is sitting in my favorite Caribou Cafe. He's putting the finishing touches on the drunken boat. He's written a series of 25 Alexandrine quatrains while I swim in the Seine, drown 50 meters out. 3. Wednesday, July 27th, 2011. Chain smoking will get you dead. But I'm going there anyway, so I light up a lucky strike. The kind of cigarette my mom used to smoke. Listen to the debt ceiling debate. No wonder Hart Crane jumped ship after exclaiming, "Goodbye, everybody." He couldn't stand the angst anymore. 4. Friday, July 29th, 2011. My neighbor passes me on the stairs. He's going down. I'm going up. He'll die like Baudelaire in 2 years, semi-paralyzed, and no one will give a damn. Why should I tell him? 5. Sunday, July 31st, 2011. I open my eyes, stare out the window at a few clouds that hang there like dingy laundry, listen to the repo man who's banging on my door. He wants my car. Okay by me. Like Strayhorn wrote, all I care is to smile in spite of it. Thank you.
I think I'm stunned because I think every time I've ever seen her coming to the cafe, she's usually wearing a black dress or a black skirt or something, and she's wearing jeans. Holy cow! The woman's in jeans. I'm like, I'm wearing a black pants, comfy. And why am I saying that? I'm going to, lady number 3, the woman number 3, I'm going to read 2 short pieces from Down in the Dirt magazine. cc&d magazine started in 1993. In like 94, there was a little supplement section inside of it called Down in the Dirt, and I decided to spool that off into its own magazine in 2000. And it's different format, but you know, there are short pieces here, and I've got 2 of them in here that I thought to pull up. This is a poem by Robert D. Lyons called God Hates Us All. They say God is our Heavenly Father, but if our fathers bailed, then what does it tell you about God? God never wanted us. God doesn't need us. God hates us all. He has damned us to pseudo-bohemian coffee shops on the curb of patchy paved streets and sex shops in the sweaty, grimy, and dirty downtown. But we are the pet sharks God flushed down the toilet. It doesn't matter. We have become a generation of men raised by women. They say the captain goes down with the ship. So when this world ends, will God go down with it? Strange piece, short ones. I know. Oh no, it's something about religion. What? This is not about religion. This one is by Sean. I have to figure out how to be able to say this. Lause. Lose? Anyway, Sean, this is your poem, and it's called The Night I Forgot to Be Afraid. My father, true philosopher, refused to build a bomb shelter. 1962, even though the factory where he worked had a contract and wanted him to build one. Instead, we sat on the front porch swing and ate Eskimo pies that wept down our shirts as we listened to the intricate crickets design the dark. We'll be all right, he said, as our deathless feet moved over the lilacs. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, short pieces. Sorry.